Hi guys. I hope you can see me and hear me. Yeah. Hello. Awesome. So let's begin today's session. Sit comfortably wherever you are. Keep your back and neck straight. And very gently close your eyes. Start observing your breath. Watch the natural flow of the breathing as you inhale and as you exhale. Slowly shift the attention to your posture. Make sure your back and neck are straight. Your spine is comfortable. There is no extra arch. Neck and shoulders are relaxed. And gently come back to your breath. Slowly begin to deepen your breathing. We'll begin to add internal retention. So after inhaling deeply, hold your breath for about 2 seconds and then exhale completely. We'll be chanting Om 3 times, followed by the Shanti mantra. Inhale deeply for Om. 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 Shanti. 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 We begin with the Shanti mantra. Inhale for Om. Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Sarve santu niravarantu. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Ma kaschit dukhabhag bhavet. Inhale for Om. Om. Shanti. 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 Join both your palms together and rub the palms together. Keep them on your eyes. Very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, begin to open up your eyes, start coming back with a smile. And namaste to everyone. Let us begin today's session. So yesterday we were talking about Gyan Yoga, right? And we had written the 6 virtues. So today we are going to discuss all 6 of them and why their development is important. Okay, so first one that we had was Shama, right? Which is the control of the mind. Okay, so Gyan Yoga begins with the control of the mind. It believes that it is quite necessary to control the mind, right? Because unless and until the mind is not controlled, it is very hard to control the senses. So all the time, we are trying to control the senses. We also try to not like, maybe form a bad habit of eating, right? Or something along these lines where the senses are really bothering us, basically. So we constantly try to work on the senses, that we won't do this, we won't do this. But our attention doesn't go to the fact that if we control the mind, the senses will automatically follow, right? So Gyan Yoga really believes that if you work on controlling the mind, that is why it placed the control of the mind before the control of the senses. Because if the mind is controlled, right, if whatever you are feeding to your mind, that is brought under control, then the senses will automatically be controlled, right? If I choose to, like, suppose I choose to read a book which is fiction, and then I choose to read a book which is maybe something to do with any form of scriptures, right? So over here, what I'm doing is I'm actually giving some food to my mind when I'm doing this thing, right? So I can choose either way, right? And whatever I choose to read, that thing will influence my mind and my thoughts, right? How I think about certain things, or how I perceive certain things, right? And then that is again going to influence how I'm going to use my senses, right? So most of us are focused on controlling the senses, not realizing that if we work on the mind, the senses will automatically come under control, right? If I work on my thinking, then my senses, they won't feel like running away too much. Or even if they will, I will have a strong mental will to stick to whatever I want to do, right? Because I have worked on the stability and the purification of the mind. Okay. So sometimes the mind is not purified, and sometimes the mind is not trained in a way where the will is developed. Okay. So when you begin to control the mind, the second stage automatically happens. So Dhamma that we wrote, DAMA, this automatically happens, right? Control of the senses will automatically take place as you begin to control your mind. Right now, the mind is having the kind of food we give to the mind, that is the kind of reaction it will give, right? So when it starts at the mental level and then shows up on the body and speech, so controlling the mind first will automatically control the senses. Now the senses won't have a tendency to run out, they will want to run inwards instead, right? Or at least be stable. They are not reacting, right? Like you guys. So right now you are devoting this time to this class, right? You could have done anything else in this time, but you are sitting over here in this class. So automatically your mind is getting some information which time could have been utilized to maybe Netflix or play some game, right? So all of these things, they are what? Again and again feeding the mind only, right? And because you are sitting over here in this class, you are not doing those things. So the senses are automatically, right now, your senses are automatically under control. You are making no effort, right? You are just sitting in the class, right? So in that same way, when you just choose to do something else, the senses automatically come under your control, right? Which is the second stage. And this is the second virtue that the Gyan Yogi has to constantly work upon, because if their senses keep going in any direction, right? They don't have control over their senses. Then there is no way in which they can get ready for the core practices, right? Your mind, your body has to be developed for the core practices, because those are very, very, deep conversations, deep debates that the Gyan Yogi has, because the Gyan Yogi is using what? The intellect in order to understand and make sense. And then the Gyan Yogi in core practices meditates also, right? So then they actualize. So then the knowledge becomes their wisdom, right? It gets converted into the wisdom, right? Where they have deep realization. So in order to go through this, it's not an easy process, right? So they have to come to a stage where the mind is getting controlled. Then they have to control the senses, right? They have to acquire that thing. They have to constantly work towards it, right? Which will bring them to the stage. If you cannot control your senses, there is no way in which you can withdraw your senses. Now my senses are running in all the directions, right? How will I bring them inwards? I cannot, right? It's only when you have control over something that you can give it direction, right? If it's only when I have control over, say, some factor, right, that I will be able to direct it and say that, no, you go this side now, right, or go towards that side now. Unless and until I do not have that sense of control, I cannot give something direction. So that is how the previous stage is connected to this stage. If you gain control, so like now, when you begin to gain control, then you will be able to say no to some things that you really like, right? So maybe you go out, you love burgers or some kind of junk food, right? But you have acquired so much control over the mind and the senses that now when you sit, go hang out with your friends, with your family, and when you sit and somebody orders that thing, you refuse to eat it. You are just saying, okay, I want a healthier diet. Okay, I will not eat this. Right? So this only comes, this decision or this place where you can make this choice only comes when you have certain level of control. No, they sometimes, people also say her control is very, very good. She doesn't, or he doesn't, like, give in whenever everybody is doing something, eating junk food, right? They don't give in. They just keep sitting over there. They eat their food, whatever they are supposed to eat. So what are they doing? They are constantly controlling, developing that control over the senses, which helps them to withdraw, right? It's only when the choice is only created. Before that, you are helpless. If something that you really love, it comes in front of you, you will go and eat it, right? Or if you really like to do something and you believe that, okay, that's not too healthy for you, you will go and do it any which way. You are creating an opportunity for yourself to make a choice for yourself when you develop this control over the mind and the senses, right? And actually, that is what character is. I keep coming back to this thing. That is what your own belief system or set of beliefs are, actually. When, regardless of what the situation is demanding, you choose what you believe in, right? It's not just the Gyan Yogi who constantly works on these things, right? We in our lives also, sometimes it's very tempting to take certain decisions or act in a certain way. But when we choose to act differently, when we create that choice for ourselves, that is actually the withdrawal that we are doing. It's like a tortoise. Have you ever seen a tortoise? Right? So whenever there is harm or danger, they all their limbs, they withdraw them in, right? And only the shell, you can only see the shell, right? It's something like that. That whenever they sense danger, right? This sense is very good, right? Whenever they sense danger, they withdraw inwards, right? That is actually what withdrawal is. It's not that you completely cut off, right? You know when you have to withdraw, and you know when you are in a safe space and you can, just exist, right? But when the tortoise withdraws, it's very hard, the shell, it's very hard, nobody can harm them, right? So it's for your own benefit that you withdraw. Another thing is this, it's not because yoga is talking about it, or you are, I give you some homework and you do it, right? It's for the tortoise does it because he knows that he will benefit. There is some danger out there, right? And the more you meditate, you will see there is a lot of danger out there, right? You need to constantly withdraw the senses. Everything is influencing you. All of your senses are influencing you, and you don't know what you really want, right? That is where, you feel as if, okay, I'm not understanding this thing, or what is the correct decision for me, right? So when you have to take a decision, what you do, you withdraw, right? You cut off everyone, you throw away your phone, right? And then you are just like, now I will make this decision. A lot of times it happens, a lot of people do this thing. They completely cut off when they have to make a major decision. Why is this being done, right? Because the senses, they are very encapturing. You will end up doing something because your environment supports it. It happens so many times. Everybody is having junk food, and I also sit over there, and then I also have junk food, right? I am a victim of this. Food is one of my weaknesses, right? When I go, if somebody is having something tasty, I'm just like, I'm also going to take a bite, right? So it's very common. It's not something out of, like, just in the concept of Gyan Yoga, you have to understand, right? So all of us make a list where we withdraw for our own benefit, right? Which leads us to the next point. So withdrawal was Uparti, then Titiksha. Now we come to the yeah, Titiksha. This is tolerance. You will lead a lot of tolerance. You will have to develop a lot of resilience on the path. Okay. Yoga is not easy. Yoga is very boring, in fact. I would say that it is easy or difficult, right? It's very boring, right? And when you do something which was very boring, do you feel motivated? No, right? Right? So you need to develop that kind of tolerance in order to, continue on the path. It could be tolerance towards your external environment or towards your own unwillingness to follow such a boring path. It's not very entertaining, like philosophy classes sometimes they are still capturing your mind. Even in meditation, you sit and meditate only for 15-20 minutes maximum. Apart from that, you are told about the meditation, the meaning, history, background. So all the entertainment is going on, right? But actually you sit for only 15-20 minutes, right? Now suppose you are to sit like that for 1 hour, right? For one full day, or when you choose the path of yoga for the rest of your life, right? So it's very boring, no? So you need to develop that tolerance, right? Towards this thing also, that you are choosing this path, you are making this choice, right? And then when you make this choice, you immediately don't cut off, right? Like now you guys are doing yoga, right? So now your tolerance level, your sensitivity is going to increase, right? When you do yoga. So something little somebody would be doing and you will be like, why are they doing this way? Or this is a better way to do it. Why don't they take this approach, right? And then your tolerance level begins to go down, right? So you have to constantly work on developing this tolerance towards your external environment also, because you are becoming more and more sensitive as you practice. But everyone around you is not, maybe, right? Most of the times this happens, that one person is doing, pursuing something in the family and nobody else is, right? So you keep looking at them and you're just like, okay, this is a better way to live, or this will make life more easy, right? But nobody else is doing that. And people have such different point of views, right? So you will meet a lot of people when you join yoga also, like you guys have like met over here on Zoom call, right? So all of you have different ways of thinking. I will give you one situation and you will come up with so many solutions, right? Very, very different solutions. So it's very important to develop that tolerance, where you gain this understanding that there is a way apart from the way that you are perceiving things, right? That is what tolerance is, because all of our minds, they function differently. We all think in very different and unique ways, right? So in order to develop that tolerance, you have to put in constant effort, right? Tolerance doesn't just come like that. You have to constantly work on developing this virtue, right? So for example, in my own family, I remember I wasn't tolerant at all. When my grandmother used to practice, I was not tolerant, right? Then I came in that, the position shifted. I came in that place where I was practicing, and everybody, like my sister, my dad, everybody in my family, all other people, right? They were not tolerant towards me, right? And I was just like, maybe you should do this thing, maybe you should practice this thing. And they were all like, what is she doing? Right? What is she doing with her life? Right? And they were all like, your ways we don't understand. You do whatever you want to do. We will not step into whatever you are doing. Right? You do whatever you want to do, but they never, like, initially, I'm telling you. Eventually, I dragged everybody. But initially, everybody was just like, okay, what has happened to her? Especially when I left my previous job, everybody was just like, are you okay? You left your job, So everybody was just like that. And a lot of people, they weren't tolerant also. So, they were just like, okay, this is what you have chosen. We cannot be a part of this. So you will find both varieties of people. Some people will be like, okay, whatever you have done, awesome, good for you. We are not a part of it. And some people will be like, okay, let's slowly, Some people, they have a very typical way of showing it. So very slowly they will follow you. They will try to, participate in whatever you are doing. So my dad did this thing, slowly, slowly. Initially he was in shock. Okay. Then slowly he started following me. Whatever I was doing, he started doing that. Wherever I was going, he started going there. And eventually he participated a lot and he became tolerant. I have seen him become more tolerant towards me. Right? I have very extreme approach sometimes. So, but it was his tolerance that kept me going. And then I developed that kind of thing towards other people in my life. And I'm still working on that. But yeah, I mean, like, it's this virtue. Actually, I learned it from him only, my dad only. He was the one who, taught me a lot of things through his actions. Little things he used to do, and I used to learn from him a lot. Like now I observe him very closely, what is he trying to do or tell me, right? So this tolerance is very important because you have to exist in this society with harmony, right? You do. You cannot light fire around you and think that you will be happy. You cannot do that, right? You have to make peace with certain things. You have to become tolerant about certain things. And that is actually a virtue. For you, it is a virtue. It shows how much you are able to, um, work on yourself that way, that despite everything, you are choosing to uh, pursue and follow whatever you want to pursue and follow, right? So then we come to the next one. Uh, then we come to the next one, which is your Shraddha. So this is the point where Bhakti Yoga begins to, merge with Jnana Yoga, right? So nothing you can do in your life without believing in that, right? If you don't believe in something, you will just go with a very sad face, do it anyway, and then come back, right? So rather than that, choose things which you believe in, right? They will come very easily to, right? So in Gyan Yoga also, Shraddha is one of the most important virtues. If you develop your belief in the practice, in the person who is teaching you, and in your own self, more than anything, I think, in your own self, when you develop that sense of belief, right, you are able to stick to your practices much more. If you keep doubting yourself, I am not able to do it, okay, or I am not good enough, right, or I could have been a little bit better, right? If you constantly have these thoughts, they're just going to hamper you, right? They're not going to allow you to move ahead in your journey. So other than having faith in all other things, you should have faith in yourself that you can do it. Out of all people, you are constantly working on yourself, and that gives you the upper hand. I told you, taking the first step is the hardest, but you guys have taken the first step. So out of everybody, you guys, more than anybody else, I would say, you guys are capable of following this path more than anyone. And you should develop faith in your own self that you can do it. Just assume that you can do it. It works wonders. Even if you don't, sometimes we have had a hard time believing, right? So you just assume, I will be able to do this, or I will be able to do this asana, or I will be able to do this meditation. Just assume. Before the class begins, you just say, I am going to be perfect at this, right? So this kind of faith in yourself is what is going to, keep you motivated and keep you going. If you constantly doubt yourself, no matter what you do, you will take a step back always because you will doubt your own potential and capability. And all of us have immense potential. It's just about putting in the work and just being patient and seeing where all the work leads you to. Nobody ever has the right amount of money or the right kind of people around them or the perfect background, right? They just put in the work, be patient, become patient, persistent and consistent, and they make it because they believe they can, right? It's such a if somebody talks of this, it's such a simple thing, and it's such a sometimes we also think it's such a stupid thing. It's only because they believed, right? They got all the resources that they needed. They never had the resources. All the famous people you will read about, they are coming from very hard backgrounds. Most of them don't have the things handed to them, right? But it's because they believe that they'll be able to do it. They do it. That's it. Nothing else is required. So more than belief in any other thing, you have to believe in yourself. You have to put that work. Do it through affirmations. I don't know, do it through anything, right? Whatever suits you, whatever builds up your own confidence. But you should have this thing. You should have this thing in your mind or consistently around you that you guys are enough, right? You are enough. No matter where you are, you are good. You deserve good things, right? And the sooner you train your mind to believe this thing, the sooner you will see all the magical things, or the uh, uh, miracles, you can say, happen to you, or you will see things align, at least according to what you are in. Just believe in your own self. Then the belief in the practice also comes in. Of course, you have to believe what you are doing. And if you have somebody who is guiding you in that thing, then you have to believe that the whatever is being given to you, it is going to have some form of result, right? And this belief, is supported by your own practice. So if your teacher keeps telling you, do this pre-practice for this asana, keep doing it, then after a month when you do it, you are actually able to do the asana. So it builds your belief, but it's only because you did it, right? So you have to continuously practice. This belief doesn't come just because I ask you to believe, right? You go through the process, you test it for yourself, you experiment, and when you see the results, your belief immediately gets support, right? Which takes us to our last and sixth point, which is your uh, samadhan. SAMADHAN. This is one pointedness. Okay. Right. So this is a natural consequence of whatever you have worked on above, right? When you control your mind, your senses become controlled. When the senses become controlled, you withdraw the senses, right? You develop the tolerance and you develop the faith. So the mind becomes very, very balanced, and now it's finally able to become one pointed, right? You are doing all the work. Each and every step is leading you to this one pointedness. This is what the Gyan Yogi is aiming for, right? To remove everything which is irrelevant, to come to the relevant part, right? All forms of all the forms are aiming to do this thing only. In Karma Yoga, you become one pointed in whatever you are doing. In Bhakti Yoga, you become one pointed by surrendering yourself and by devoting yourself to a God. And over here, you are developing this virtue as a foundation, as a pillar, right? But the whole process is leading you to that one point only, right? Which is the one point of your meditation, right? You become one pointed when you do the meditation, right? You choose one point only, always, right? Because the mind runs in so many directions. So at least give it one point. So all the bad habits you have, at least keep one. Okay. I always say this thing. One that you can fall back on. right? So no matter what you are doing, you are just like, okay, now I'm not feeling too good, or I just want to have a cheat day. So go and do that one bad habit. Okay. But at least you're not doing 10. Okay. So that really helps you. It's not just for meditation. In life also, you can do this thing, that because it's hard to leave everything, no? So at least keep one bad habit, right? So train your mind. Okay. Next time I feel this way, I'm going to watch Netflix. Netflix is my bad habit. Or next time I feel like I want to cheat day, so I will go and have junk food. That is my like reserve kind of, that I can go back to that habit. But don't go back to all others, right? Don't Netflix and then eat junk food and then sleep the entire day, right? So take one, do all the others. Yes, yes, yes. I am coming to that. So, Mumukshutva is actually the fourth pillar. So yesterday, I think I wrote it in the 6 virtues. So that is one correction. So Mumukshutva is your fourth pillar instead of being one out of the 6 virtues. So Samadhan is your sixth virtue. Okay. So first one is Vivek, then Vairagya, then the 6 virtues, and then Mumukshutva. This is the fourth one. I think yesterday I wrote it in the 6 virtues, right? Okay. So out of all this story, what are we coming to the conclusion to? That you have to become one-pointed, right? And when you become one-pointed, you build a strong foundation of the 6 virtues. So third pillar is ready for you. Then the fourth one is an automatic stage, right? Which is your mumukshutva that I wrote yesterday also, an intense desire for liberation. So now yesterday only I was having a talk with one of the students who has come over here. So she was discussing with me, how when she is meditating, a thought comes up that she has to come back to the object. So she said that that is also a thought only. I'm not coming back to the object, but first the thought is arising, when I am coming back to the object. So I said that is correct, but see the quality of the thought that is coming up now. Earlier, your mind would have thought of 10 different things, right? But now you are coming to what? One desire. So earlier you would have had multiple desires, right? But all of this work on yourself, it's leading you to this one desire. First, the desire will rise. Human beings, we are driven by desire. Okay, so you cannot deny this, your internal nature of being driven by desire. First, the desire will come that you want to be free. It's only then you will begin to act upon it. Like for you guys, maybe some desire came up that, something you were looking for in yoga, maybe flexibility, maybe a peace of mind, maybe just some time off. But the desire came up. That is when you joined the course. But look at the quality of the desires, right? All other desires, I told you, you will have those and it's good to fulfill them, but they will somewhere or the other, you will enjoy and reap them for a while, and then you will again generate another desire, right? So it's like an endless bucket, right? Sorry, bottomless bucket. It's endless, right? You keep pouring water into it and you don't know where it's going, right? But see the quality of the desire that comes up after so much cleansing, right? Of the mind, of your body, working so much. The desire comes up. But the quality of the desire is that now you want to be free from all the sufferings, not just one or two, right? All of them. So, first, the desire comes up that now I want to be free. Now I've gone in this circle again and again. I got this thing, then again I got happy, then again I got sad, then again I got the other thing. I got happy, I got sad. So you just want to be free. You're just like, I don't want to be happy, I don't want to be sad, right? I just want to be, right? So when the yogi comes to this realization, there is no turning back. Okay, so it's not like us, like we are talking in the class right now, then we go out, then again the same cycle begins. No. When Siddharth Gautam, Buddha, he saw those four things, there were four instances that happened. He left his house. He couldn't stay because the realization was so deep. It was so deep that he knew that going back will do no good. He had to find a way out of all of this suffering. Similarly, in the case of other yogis also, you know, they had this deep realization that no, now we cannot, right? This is the point when the yogi, moves to the core practices, right? Then they go away from the general um, constructs of the society, right? And go and live that life where they can support this thing, where they want to be free from the sufferings. And you cannot force it. Okay, so don't try to force it. Don't think that today you will pack your bags and you will go away, right? And you will live in isolation. We are not ready. We need to fulfill our responsibilities. We should, you know. There are so many people who were involved when you were growing up, right? And they supported you, and it's your responsibility to support them back. Right now it's our duty. We should, right? So don't run away. But when this stage comes up, then the yogi doesn't run away. They go in isolation because, or they go to a guru because they know that if they are able to free themselves, they can help others also free themselves, right? So the yogi always takes permission. Siddharth Gautam, he took permission from his wife before he left. He just didn't run away, right? Not like rebellious kids, right? He took the permission and then he left. He said that, okay, I'm going for a greater cause, and his wife understood. She understood that he was suffering a lot within and he needed to find that answer, right? And she let him go, right? So this kind of thing happens. This is the fourth thing, mumukchutva, or the intense desire for liberation, right? Then we come to the core practices. Okay. Now the person has become ready for the main practices of Gyan Yoga, which are three. Okay. Okay. So Shravan, Manan, and Nididhyasan. Shravan is listening. SHRAVAN. Then Manan, MANAN. Manan, introspection. And then Nididhyasan, which is meditation. NIDDHYASANA. Nididhyasana. These are the three core practices of Gyan Yoga, right? So after all of this preparation, foundation setting, now the person becomes ready to listen to what the guru has to say. So over here, the teacher plays a very important role. The person who is guiding the Gyan Yogi plays a very important role because they are constantly transmitting the information, right? Whatever relevant information is there, it is constantly being transmitted to the person, right? And they are prepared for this. So they are very harsh truths also, which they come across, right? And that is where the willpower has to be very, very strong. Concepts like death are discussed. Death is such a hard topic to talk about, right? We live most of our lives ignoring that part, right? But these heavy things, which are realities of life, those are discussed when the um, Shravan portion is taking place, and the work of the student is to just listen, right? They don't question in between, they don't they are just absorbing. But to be a good listener, you have to prepare yourself. Not everybody is a good listener, they don't have that art. So the first few, like the 4 pillars, they are developing this listening quality, right? Where the person can at least sit and perceive and absorb whatever is given to them, right? And after, like your philosophy classes, maybe, I don't know, maybe throughout the day, some thought or the other might come up, right? Whatever we discuss in philosophy classes. So after that, you guys may introspect sometimes. Like yesterday, I told you, you have to introspect. So yesterday, I made sure that you reflect. But for the Gyan Yogi, it's every day. Whatever they are listening to, whatever information they are acquiring, they are constantly, the analysis is going on in the mind, right? They're using their mind in order to understand and absorb that information, right? And they're constantly, sorting out that information. Do they believe in this? Do they not believe in this? Have they experienced this? Have they not experienced this? Right? So this thing is constantly going on. Like sometimes I tell you some stories and they really resonate with you, right? So immediately you accept that thing. And sometimes you might question what I'm saying. So you keep thinking, why did she say this thing? Or why did she, point this thing out, right? So constantly you guys are also, not consciously, maybe subconsciously, you guys are also constantly absorbing the information and thinking upon, right? Is this right? Is this relevant? Not relevant? Should I do this? Should I not do this? So constantly this also goes on in the Gyan Yogi's mind. So they come to the second stage by default, where they are now taking the time to introspect, right? Manan is taking place. First you listen to something, right? It's only then you can introspect, right? So first they listen, then they process and analyze, right? And then in order to validate it, they go into meditation, right? So nididhyasana, or the third stage, when you listen to something, okay, so you are told about anapan, okay, then you analyze anapan, okay, this is the breath, this is what has been told, okay, right? And then you, at the end of your class, you actually sit and do anapan, right? So what are you doing? You're doing all 3 stages, right? You're listening, then you're analyzing, and then you practice, right? So meditation is what tells you that, okay, my breath is changing, right? Earlier your teacher will tell you, but when you actually sit and meditate, you see, okay, my natural breath is this, it's changing as every thought comes in, okay, my pain is also coming in, but this will go away. Okay, so when you sit for a long period of time, it goes away, then you're just say, okay, now I can validate this information, that okay, this pain was created by the mind and it will eventually go away. So what are you doing? You are also constantly going through all these stages, right? So that is what the Gyan Yogi also does, but on a very intense level. So they, at that point of time, completely immerse themselves into all of this information. Then there is no going back. So for us, we are now, yoga is done for profession, not for just well-being. But earlier, and even in some places today, so when the Gyan Yogi goes, so they leave everything and they go deeply into this. So this is like a consistent thing for them. All the time, whatever information they're acquiring, they're constantly introspecting, and then they are meditating, right? So this is the entire process of Gyan Yoga, from your building up the foundation to moving to the core practices, right? So any doubts in today's class? Anything you were unable to understand? No? Yeah, everything is clear? Yeah? So you guys can read up about it, like I told you, in the 7th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. If you feel the need, you guys can read about this if you liked it and if you want to go on this path. And again, there is this book called Jnanayoga by the same author, Swami Vivekanand. So he has written very well on the concept of Gyan Yoga also. If you guys feel like reading up more about this, then this is another book that you can consult, right? Whatever you prefer, you can. He has written on all 4 schools, main schools of yoga. So tomorrow when I start Raj Yoga, I will suggest his book only if you want to go deeper. Okay. So let's end today's session then. Yeah. Keep your back and neck straight. Gently close your eyes. We'll chant Om one time, followed by 3 Shantis. Inhale deeply for Om. Om. Shanti. 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 Join your palms together and simply bow down, taking a few moments in a day for a sense of gratitude. Rub your palms together. Keep them on your eyes. And very slowly, while blinking and looking at your palms, open up your eyes. Start coming back with a smile. Namaste to everyone. So guys, for today, what you can do is, you can see whatever you are doing in your day are the 3 core practices involved. So all 3 will help you to acquire the information very holistically. Okay, so Shravan should be there, then you introspect, and then you try it out. Okay, so suppose you are watching some DIY YouTube video. Okay, so first you listen to that, then you think a little bit about it, right? How should I do it? What ingredients do I need? And then you actually work on it. Okay, so try to break down all the tasks that you do in these 3 things. They will help you to do the tasks much more efficiently, right? And you will be able to do them quickly also. But these 3 breakdowns of Gyan Yoga, they can be applied to your own life also, right? So today or today specifically, but any other time also, you can utilize this information in your own life also, where you are constantly experimenting, right, with things. Okay, so we'll meet for pranayam in the afternoon. Take care guys, and bye bye.